Good morning. How are you today? Today is Monday, the 31st. Can you believe it? 31st of March. A quarter of the year is gone. Just like that. I have this theory that the older you grow, the faster time goes. I really think it's true because I cannot believe that a quarter of 2025 has already gone just like that. Like, where the hell did that quarter go? But either way, I mean, we're always working hard. We're always doing what we can on a regular basis just to ensure that you are utilizing the days because these days do gallop by pretty fast. I mean, before we know it, we'll be talking about the general elections. Can you believe that? It will be 5 years since the UPND took over. Like a joke like that. It's 5 years. I mean, right now we're on year 4. We get to August, it'll be 4 years since the Patriotic Front exited and the United Party for National Development came on board. So you realize time moves very fast, and if you don't have a plan and a strategy and you're pushing what you need to push in order to get things to happen, before you know it, your days will be done and you'll still be, hoping to do this and hoping to do that. That's why we come every day with this particular, coaching, which is offered free of charge. I have so many people who still get in touch and ask me, Rev, I'd like mentorship, I'd like guidance. And I say, look, we already have a free platform which you can take advantage of. I just find that most people, I don't know why they don't, do what they need to do, like take advantage of the free stuff and run with it. So anyway, I'll come to that. On Mondays, you have myself, Rev Walter, yours truly, coming through with Unleashing Your Destiny, and of course, the Quantum Leap and all these bits on Monday, which is under Prosperity Insights. Then on Tuesday, we have Dr. Sunshine Sylvia, who comes through with Mindset Change program. Wednesdays is our open market day, so we have various presenters. Right now, we're going through a series with Salome Sampa, who is speaking about youth and mompreneurs and the like. And then on Thursdays, we have Dr. Nelly with what's it called? Prosperity for Your Soul. She does that every Thursday, and if she's not on, she has various individuals under her setup who will come through and do that. Then Friday is still open. We are supposed to have health tips, and we're working on that, and we should be having something coming through very soon. So every day, I come back to my point. So every day, Monday to Friday, with the exception of bank holidays, we are usually here. And you can access this for free. A lot of people want one-on-one, which is not feasible unless you're paying for it. And even then, you have to pay quite a bit because for individuals like myself, the numbers are just high. It's not feasible to be doing any one-on-one, let alone free one-on-one. And experience has taught me that if people do not, so when you get stuff for free, people don't value it. So you need to put a charge to that so that people can appreciate the value, unless the individuals know what they're looking for. When I was approached by my coach, neuropsychologist Satchmo Chiriri, on neuro leadership, it was I that kept pushing him every day. Every day. He actually, confessed that. He said, Rev, if it wasn't for you pushing and checking with which day it's on and coming through, I would not have finished this thing with you. He told me, I couldn't believe it, of the people that he's picked to just bless, because he always identifies individuals he thinks have got great talent, great, great potential, and he'll say, listen, hey, I've got this neuro leadership coaching program which I think will benefit you. He does that as part of his CSR, like he really does that. So he picked me, and he says out of almost 25 people that he's picked, I'm the only one that finished the course, like all 30, 2-hour sessions. I finished it. No one else did. I said, wow. Seriously? He says, yep. So meaning most people have this desire to be successful, but are not willing to pay the price for it. They're just not ready for it. So that alone has taught me also that whether people pay or they don't pay, because even for the paying classes, we have people come in, and usually the percentage that finishes is 10%. You have 100 people join, 10 finish. You have 30 people join, 3 to 5 finish. That's just how it is. And these are people paying, and some of them paying like very high. My Unleashing Your Destiny course is 9,000 kwacha. and they can pay it at a discounted rate of 7.2 if they want to pay everything at once. I've had people pay, like several people pay that, and very few will finish the course. So you realize that this ability to finish stuff is really a big problem. Anyway, so just know we have this on offer for free. If you are serious about progress, you can go into the programs, go into the recordings and find all the recordings, especially on my YouTube channel. They are listed in a very orderly fashion, so you can easily follow them and start to learn. But most people are just what they are. They're just not serious. So anyway, let's move on. So today we're looking at brand, how to establish a powerful brand. And we looked at the 5 laws of performance. We looked at self-reflection. We looked at defining your purpose. We looked at identifying your target audience. We now are delving into the 4th one, which is crafting your personal brand statement. And I'll be very honest with you, if this is not well done, you will have a tough time trying to really create the right impression out there. So crafting a personal brand statement is very, very important. Now remember, for you to craft a sensible brand, you need to have what I'd term a very clear sense of purpose. What is your purpose? Have you clearly defined that? Is it well known? Because if it's not well known, then you will have quite a bit of a challenge when it comes to crafting a personal brand. So purpose is critical. And for purpose to make sense, remember, we look at the whole concept of a mission. And mission and vision are kind of related. So what is your mission? But for you to even clearly define what your mission is, you need to understand what your core values are. So it starts with your values. What are your values? Once you understand those values, then obviously what naturally follows is your mission. And remember, your mission comprises 3 key components. Number 1, your purpose, the reason why you exist. Number 2, your service. To whom are you called to serve, and what are you serving exactly? This service that you're giving out. And then 3, your work. How will you do it? How will you accomplish that service? And by the way, if you then find a clever way to monetize that, you will see it actually pay off. So as you execute your service, create value. Now remember, value is perceived. So what do I mean by that? I mean, it is your audience, not you, that determine your value. So when you create a very powerful, presentation of your value, that's how people are willing to pay good money for it. And that's where, crafting your personal brand comes in, because it's your brand that will draw and cause individuals to be able to come in. So let's look at the brand. So now, how do you do that? You develop a concise and compelling statement that communicates who you are, what you do, and the value you bring. It's a pity I forgot to carry my book, which I would have read for you what my mission is, because you have to be very clear about that. All right, so what exactly do you do? Let's begin with that. So who you are, what are you, who are you? So for me, Rev Walter, I'll talk about myself because it's the easiest. As Rev Walter, who am I? I am a thought leader. If I had to just break it down to one statement, it would be a thought leader. So what do thought leaders do? Thought leaders challenge convention. Now, when you challenge convention, it means you are definitely going to ruffle some feathers in the process, but also you are going to challenge people to think deeper. And it's never easy. Why? Because now I'm talking about myself here. So this is how you have to start understanding your brand. So like myself, as a thought leader, what are you doing? Challenging convention. When you challenge convention, what does that imply? People will be uncomfortable because you have to move them from a place of comfort, which is where they're used, and take them to a place of unfamiliarity. People don't like change. So because people don't like change, it's going to lead to a place where there will be people who will not like what you talk about. There will be people who won't like what you stand for because of this thought leadership. But at the same time, I am also creating value out there. There are those who listen, there are those who follow, and they're like, wow, I think that's powerful. Well, I think I'm challenged. And they will come and say, listen, Rev, I've been listening to you, and I think I'm quite challenged. So I would like to know how I go about making this happen. So who you are is so important. Your identity must be crystal clear. If your identity is not crystal clear, then how the heck will people know what you do and what you stand for? So I think it's Charles Sampao says, what keeps you that consistent, Rev? Well, there you are. It's part of my understanding who I am. So if you don't understand who you are, then you'll be wishy-washy because you will be challenged. So in brand statements, you have to be certain about who you are and what you stand for. And if it means losing friends, losing people, fine. The most important thing is whether you're true to yourself or you're not. So of course, not everybody wants to, this has a lot to do with personality. Some people just don't like confrontations. So pick whatever you're comfortable with and whatever you think represents who you are, and then run with that. But the bottom line is who you are. That's very important. Who are you? My DNA, one of the key things I had to learn in my self-discovery was my DNA. And by the way, every one of you here has your DNA. And I'm not talking about the DNA in your blood, but I'm talking about the DNA in your purpose. And that relates to who you really are and what you represent. So I did some deep research on who I am and discovered that my DNA is communication. So when I learned that my DNA is communication, I have zoned in and focused on that very, very powerfully, because I realized that that's the only way I can then be able to really expound on who I am. So if it's communication, that means, if you look at communication, it means I'm a writer, prolific. I do copy, very good copy. I am also a speaker, so I have been speaking for a long time. At one point, I even was in rhythm and poetry, which is rap, but I then zoned in to debate, and then later on discovered I'm a very good salesperson, so I sell, so meaning I'm very good at persuading people. And then later on, I learned that I'm also a gifted public speaker, so I could utilize my public speaking prowess. Then I also realized I'm a wordsmith, so I can pick words, I can use words with dexterity and clarity, and could be able to expound what I mean to say, and of course not leave the audiences discombobulated. So you see, that is something that I can do easily without struggle. Why? Because it is part of me. It's my DNA. So it's very important to understand that. And so every other aspect of communication are things that I do with ease. And so this becomes my DNA. And for every one of you out there, if you're talking about your brand statement, what exactly are you? What exactly are you? That deals with your true identity as a brand. And I'm not talking about identity as a person. I'm talking about identity as a brand. I'm talking about identity as what you do as an individual and or your company, and how that works for you. So who you are, and then what you do. So not only do you describe through your brand statement who you are, you must also describe what you do. So what do you do as, Peter Mwambazi, as Charles, okay? What do you do as Dr. Sylvia Monta and Uncle Steve? What are you exactly? Because that's very important. All of us have to be clear about what we do. Once you understand what you do, then you kind of flow with that. Remember, what you do must be deeply connected to who you are. Because if you don't do that, then you become an imposter. You will find that when you get to a place where you have to define yourself better, or to demonstrate your prowess or your brand value, you will fail, because you won't be able to carry the conversation. You won't be able to prove that what you say is real. You will fail to do that, and they will see you for who you are, which is an imposter. So you must be very particular about what you do and the value you bring. Now, value must be demonstrated, but value is perceived. First impressions matter, and people remember first impressions. So which means when it comes to how you bring value to the market, you must demonstrate it. Now, there's a formula which I like to speak about all the time. KLT. People like Peter Mwambazi know this because I taught this in our coaching class. So KLT, know, like, trust. Okay? Know, like, trust. Just write that down on your comment somewhere, just so that you remember it. So K for know, L for like, T for trust. So how do people get to know who you are? Well, first of all, you have to showcase yourself. And I've always said this false modesty, or this so-called, let me not show anything, doesn't pay off. If you know what you're doing, if you're good at what you're doing, you must demonstrate it. You must demonstrate it. And my favorite example I always use all the time is David. When he's a young man, he's about what, 15, 16, he's a young man. He's sent by his father to go and take food to his brothers who are fighting out there in the valley. And he gets there and there's this whole thing going on between the armies of Israel and the armies of the Philistines. And the Philistines had sent off their big champion, Goliath, and Goliath is insulting everybody and calling it out because they had said, let's just agree, let's do this the old-fashioned way. Two great fighters, they fight. Whoever loses, that's the end of the war. Okay, the ones who win, win, and the ones who lose, lose. So Goliath was out there threatening everybody, and they were very afraid. And David comes in, and he watches this with absolute incredulity, and goes to his own brothers, and he says, hey, who is this uncircumcised Philistine insulting the armies of the living God? You can imagine the audacity. Long story short, David is victorious, but it is because he showcased his ability. When the king asked, when those asked, they said, how do you think a small man like you can fight this guy? He said, well, I was in the jungle or in the plains, and I faced a lion and I faced a bear, and I was able to prevail. I can beat this guy. Now, that's just amazing. I mean, think of the assertive audacity of that. But I love that because that proves for you and for me, it proves to me the concept of being so confident and going out there and being assertive. One thing Zambians lack is assertiveness. So we don't showcase ourselves as often as we ought to. So my point to you guys is we need to demonstrate value. So they have to know you, hence the KLT. They have to know you. How else would they know you unless you say, I can do this? And then you have to say it with confidence. You have to demonstrate through what you say that you know what you're talking about. And so as you showcase yourself more and more, people will know you. And guess what? If people receive value from what you're saying, they're like, oh, that was powerful. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's good. There's a law called the law of reciprocity. When people start to like you because of what you offer them, it won't take long before they will feel a sense of giving back to you. Okay? No, for sure, Peter. In life, kuliwonesha is very valuable. You cannot sit there saying, no, they will see me. No one will see you. You have to go out there and let them know that you have this skill, you have this ability, you will be able to do something. This is true even in the boardroom, in meetings. When you have issues that come up, learn to contribute. Of course, there are those who over-contribute. You know what? It doesn't matter. What matters is that you contribute. And as you're contributing, people say, oh, I think Peter, oh, that's powerful. That's a powerful point Peter raised. And many times people will come to you privately and say, oh, I like what you said in the meeting. Even though they may not tell you in the meeting or even say it in public, but when they come to you privately, they'll say, I thought that point was very powerful. I think we need to use it. And there are times that that same showcasing will even demonstrate your capacity to the bosses and the people that matter. So it's very important for you to make sure that you're always showcasing yourself. Don't you ever fall for that trick in Zambia where people say, no, let them see you. Your light will shine. No. The light shining means you put it up on the top of the hill. You put it on the top of the cabinet. Everyone sees that light. It means that light has to shine. And that's why it's so important to showcase your value by demonstrating it before people that will like you. Now, once they like you, not only will they be coming back to listen to you, but they'll take what you've said and they will apply it and it will work. And once it works, they now trust you. See, at that stage, let me tell you, the law of reciprocity will have really reached a powerful point because now people will be willing to pay for value. When you say, hey, listen, I know I've been teaching you guys for a while, but I've got this really deep stuff. And I think you need to pay for it. It's so much and so much, and this is what it's all about. And I can tell you people will pay because once they have seen the value, once they have sampled what you offer, they will pay. It's a concept called free to fee. Write that down. Free to fee. So meaning you start off with free, you offer good samples for free, and people taste those samples and say, you know what? This is good stuff. I mean, if the Bible uses that method, who are you and I? The Bible says, come and taste and see that the Lord is good. Taste with the tongue. So if God himself can say, come and taste me to see if I'm genuine, what more you and I? we can use the same model and take ourselves out there and say, listen, come and taste, come and test what I have and see if it works. Come and use these principles and see if they work for you. And so for people like myself, I've been dishing out this stuff forever. And sometimes people are like, hey, this guy, he's got a lot of time. Let me tell you why I have a lot of time. Just hear me so that you understand. I have a lot of time on social media here because I know that by demonstrating what I carry through kulivonesha, you know what happens? People will appreciate. People will know me. Then they'll start to like what I talk about. And then finally they'll move to a point where they trust it because they go apply some of the things I say and they start to change their lives. I've had countless people come in my inbox and say, Rev, 5 years ago, I messaged you. I had this situation. My life has changed. Rev, 10 years ago. I'm like, 10 years. Some of these people, I don't even remember when I met them, when I chatted with them, nothing, blank. But they come back and they tell me, Rev, that time I was going through an issue. You told me this, you prayed for this, you did that. Things have worked for me. I'm now at a better place. And many of those would come back and say, now, Rev, what do you offer? And some of them end up getting on my courses, buying my books, getting my material, recommending me in boardrooms. I mean, all sorts of things happen because there was a point at some time in the past where they interacted with my material. So I've come to learn that one of the best ways to showcase myself is to be on these platforms, which is the equivalent of the marketplace today. In the old days, you'd have to go stand in the middle of the city and holler and say, hey, hey, this is what I do. Hey, advertising. You go on newspapers, wherever, and you're showcasing yourself. And you know what? This showcasing thing is real. I did newspapers. Every major paper in this country I've written articles for. Okay, so starting from the post itself,
Rev, you're disappearing. You're disappearing.
The Daily Mail is back. Just confirm. Can you see me or I'm off? Can you hear what I'm saying right now?
But yes, now you are on.
No way. Okay, this internet. Anyway, so I was saying, so for years I just pray to behave because I'll have to change my network. So like I was saying, for years I ran radio. 10 solid years I ran radio. And there are so many people today who still ask me, Rev, Prosperity Insights, when are you coming back? Rev, Prosperity Insights, when are you coming back? I may go back, but I'm not too sure. Maybe my season is done. And I know how I operate. I know when I reach a certain point and I'm like, you know what? I think I've done what I can. I need to transition to something else. So that's where I am. But the point being that I did radio. And now I also do these platforms because they are the greatest platform today in which you can harness this concept that I've spoken about. What's the concept? The concept is know, like, trust. So what's the value you bring? How best can you build value? So let me quickly finish with this area. Build an online presence. Now I'll try and see if I can rush through this. So this online presence is very, very important. I know for a fact that if you don't have good online presence, you will suffer because no one will know you. So you need to create a digital footprint. That's what we talk about. When Dr. Nelly always jokes and says, when you type your name, does Google say, did you mean? So if Google says, did you mean, then it means really there is a bit of a problem. Your digital footprint is not there. And so you need to be very deliberate, especially today. you really need to be very deliberate about your digital footprint. What does that mean? That means you do several things, including creating a professional website. That's, I think, the best, most powerful way. Create a professional website with your name and details, and like almost like a one-pager, profile of some sort. And then, also a blog that showcases your experience. So you want to start writing articles, start on a blog, and then have social media. So that social media drives everybody to the website, because that's the most effective way. Remember, no matter how big your reach is on social media, you don't own that list. I have 206,000 followers. Those 206,000 followers are not my people. I can tell you, any day Facebook can wake up and say, we're shutting you off. In fact, the other time they almost did it. They almost shut me off. It was depressing, because now you start realizing, oh my God, how am I going to reach people? So you need to have a list. Now the question is, do you have a list? I have some lists, really long ones. I've got a 10,000 people list right now. WhatsApp, emails, phone numbers, contact details, detailed professional input, feedback. I've got it all. I pay a small fortune for a list management system. In fact, I'll tell you, to run what I do right now, what you see right now, I spend on average 10,000 kwacha every month. That's what, $300, 350, somewhere there. I spend $350 a month to run what you see. I want that to sink in. So there's certain levels you reach, my friend, which you will not reach for free. You have to be willing to go out there and really build a presence. So professional website, blog, I have all those, and I have several. Okay, then optimize your LinkedIn profile with a professional photo and comprehensive summary, because LinkedIn is the one for the bougie online presence. So what does your LinkedIn look like? How well, set up is it? LinkedIn is like your active CV online. So what does that look like? Some people have never updated that thing for years. As I'm speaking right now, this is also going on LinkedIn. Whether people watch it or not, I really don't care. But the point is, it's there. And people see those videos on LinkedIn. And there's 1 or 2 people who watch those. And the day when it comes, when I need to do something, they come back to me. I mean, recently I was at the Canadian High Commission, doing a strategy meeting with them. Now, that Canadian High Commission scenario came about because the lady that connected me there has been following in the background. You see, that's how interesting it is. Most will never come out, comment, but they are following. And so when the day reaches that they need something, they'll say, oh, he could do that because he's got that brand. Then they'll come back. And that's the whole point here, my dear brothers and sisters. It's about sowing those seeds out there so that people just know who you are and what you do. It doesn't pay to be quiet, because me, I'm a quiet guy. Of course, there are certain professions where it's a very quiet profession. But my general knowledge is that you still must be known in that circle. If your peers don't know who you are and what you do, you can rise in those circles. Engineers, lawyers, very quiet professions. They don't like making noise. But the truth is that if nobody knows you, how do you grow? So ensure you have a very strong presence on LinkedIn, but also on all other social platforms, demonstrating value regularly. Let me finish with the last one. And this one is a very tough one. Oh, it's not the last one. Okay, no. So next week I'll continue. So I think let me end here, because the next one is definitely too detailed to get into today. It's content creation. But let me finish by really stressing the online presence must be strong, because when you type your name, you should be able to see quite a number of posts, details about you. And remember, don't keep changing your name. Use the same name throughout for what is known as brand consistency. Same name, same colors, same outlook, same general, features and whatever it is. Let that be the same. You see, if you look at my screen right now, there. Have you seen that? That's our little logo. That's the logo for Prosperity Insights. That logo has been like that for the last 10 years plus. Prosperity Insights, the flying eagle, the gold and yellow and black. This has been part of my image. Okay, so it's so important to ensure that we do this right. So anyway, having said all that, we have come to the end of our presentation this morning. Make sure, remember, what's my point again? As you are brand consistent, ensure you also showcase. And the best place today to showcase who you are, online, because these digital platforms are the next market. If you're not on these platforms, you will disappear. So make sure that there is a way to track you. And when people enter your name, it should show up and show up properly with your details, your pictures, your various activities on the various platforms, and there must be a consistency. Articles, you name it. All right, so on that point, thank you so much, Shupi. We are on today. Don't worry, I am going to our usual place to make sure I'm all charged up, but we are on today. So on that note, everybody else, thank you so much for being part of us. I will be back again on probably Wednesday. I don't know. We'll find out. So I will be back again. I'm sure we should be able to really run with this. And I continue with my next topic, which is content creation. This is so important on content creation because a lot of people have brand but no content. And in this day and age, you have no content. How the heck do they know how good you are? How the heck will they get to like what you're about? And how the heck will they trust you with real business if you've not demonstrated it? So in our next episode, we're looking at content creation. Don't miss it. If it's not this Wednesday, it's next week, Monday. Do not miss it. Take care of yourselves. Have a great day and catch you soon.